And welcome back on Take Action News. This is Daniel Marins in the host chair this hour. We've got a very, very exciting and contentious debate coming up right now. Joining us on Take Action News are Dr. Maya Rockeymoore. Maya Rockeymoore is the CEO and president of Global Policy Solutions, a policy consulting firm. She's also the chair of the board of the National Committee to Preserve Social Security and Medicare, and the host of Pivot Point with Maya Rockeymoore, a Sunday radio show on We Act Radio, here on We Act Radio, weactradio.com. You can follow her on Twitter at Maya Rockeymoore. And joining us as well is Catherine Mangu Ward, the managing editor of Reason Magazine, who you can follow on Twitter at K Mangu Ward. Reason Magazine is a libertarian magazine, and they're here to debate an issue that has really been gripping the country for several months, if not a couple years now, and that is that Mayor Bloomberg of New York City passed a law banning the purchase of and sale of sodas and sugary drinks above 16 ounces. That if you wanted to get a soda or a sugary drink that large, you would need to get 2 cups. Well, this past week, that law was overturned by Judge Milton Tingling in the city of New York, who called it capricious and arbitrary. He said that it was not clear how consistently the law applied, and that it discriminated against certain businesses and not others. Now, is this a blow to a legitimate effort against obesity and for public health, which are clearly major problems facing the country, or a victory for liberty? Joining me now to debate some of the finer points of that are Maya Rockeymoore and Catherine Mangu Ward. Maya, Catherine, thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
So, Maya, I want to turn this over to you first. Is this a victory or a loss for public health or liberty?
It's a loss for public health, to the extent that Mayor Bloomberg has really been a pioneer in a number of practices that have shown to make a difference in the health of the population. Everything from expanding cycling lanes in communities to establishing green carts in downtown cities where you actually can buy fruits and vegetables from street vendors. Mayor Bloomberg has actually been a leader in the anti-obesity movement. So this latest effort, while the parameters of it may not have proven to be as consistent as maybe it should and can be, it was an effort to follow up on the research that shows that when people get a size, their default size, they actually end up consuming what they get, and so the research shows that sugar-sweetened beverages, particularly sodas, are the leading cause of excess weight gain in our nation. And so to the extent that he was feeding off of that research to create a law that would reduce the consumption of sugary beverages, he would have had a major contribution towards reversing obesity in the city of New York.
Catherine, same question for you. Was this a victory or a loss for public health?
You know, I actually think the court decided correctly in this case, both on kind of strict legal grounds. The judge is right that the list of rules, the way that the rules were crafted, didn't necessarily reflect a useful underlying public health rationale. It was actually, it had to do with what was politically expedient and what was possible. And so it did come out being arbitrary and capricious, as you said. But I think the more important issue is whether or not this kind of thing should be the business of the mayor in the first place and his Board of Health. Among other things, what the judge said is, listen, if anyone can do this, it should be the city council, not the mayor, that this should be something that's a question for elected representatives, not the mayor's Board of Health, which is appointed. So there's also that element. But I think the most important point is just whether or not things that are a bad idea should always be against the law. And I think that's a really, really important distinction that Mayor Bloomberg has basically said means nothing to him. And I think it means something to a lot of people. That you can say, listen, of course it's a terrible idea for people to drink 42-ounce sodas, but that doesn't mean it should be illegal. There are lots of things that are terrible ideas that shouldn't be illegal. You probably shouldn't look up your ex on Facebook 4 nights in a row, but sometimes people do that, and it shouldn't be against the law.